So it's finally assembled, my entire collection of every little masterpiece card there is. I have all the invocations, all the inventions, and all the expeditions. And as you can see, you're looking at something that's quite glimmery, something like reflects the light pretty much. That's because every card you see is actually triple sleeve. There's first the inner sleeve, then there's a middle part, that's the Dragon Shield normal sleeve you all have, and then I have actually a third sleeve above it, just to be even more protection, because I actually am afraid to make this wear and tear, because I do want to protect my card, because these is cards I actually play a lot. I play with them. They are not sitting in my binder, they are actually being used a lot. Like in every EDH game, every EDH deck I have, if they fit in, I use these cards, because I really like playing with beautiful cards. I really like enjoying watching good art. And this is really what I think is good art. And actually the main reason that I got them was because I wanted to make a cube. I wanted to make a cube that's called the Master Cube. The Master Cube. Which is going to be in every single Masterpiece card. And then I just filled out with some Judge foils and some other FNM promos. But as you can see, it's a very big collection. And actually, I'm gonna make a video in the future, a video series, about if the cards are price worthy, if it's worth buying the card. Like Chromatic Lantern, I actually think is a card that could rise in price, because many people want to have a Chromatic Lantern for their EDH deck. And the same for some of the lands. So it's actually gonna be 3 different videos, I think. One about all the expeditions, everyone, and one about all the inventions, and then one about all the invocations. I can pretty much say that currently I think overall Masterpieces is okay to get. I actually started to get them in the right time, I think. So a little bit of history and prices about what happened to these cards is that first the expedition came, and all the expeditions won like, oh, there's just gonna be this and nothing more. And then people started getting the expeditions, and then people started to figure out, or Wizards actually figured out that, Mind Twister looks so good, that this is actually a very interesting product for us to print more of. And then they made these cards, the inventions in Kaladesh. And then suddenly people realized, okay, this is actually something that will be repeated, and therefore the expeditions dropped, and a lot of people wanted to get out of the expeditions. And then suddenly the Wizards kept doing it. They printed the invocations in Amonkhet, and then suddenly it was kind of confirmed that this is a game changer. Now it's not really worth at all to have these cards, and people were starting to like trying to get rid of them. And then suddenly the Wizard stopped printing these sort of cards, and now we haven't seen any X form of Masterpiece card in Ixalan, and we're probably not gonna see one for a very long moment. This is the Scorpion God. I hope you can see it. The Sphere of Resistance looks a bit better. The blurriness isn't shining through there. And many of the reasons why the price started to be like worse for these cards is that the Amonkhet invocations were pretty bad. As you can see, they are a little bit too dark. It's really hard to see, but this is a dark ritual. You can see add the 3 black mana to your mana pool for 1 black mana up in the corner. But compare it with the Mana Crypt. You can easily see all the beautiful details in Mana Crypt. I really love Mana Crypt. I think it's a beautiful card. But overall, I actually started getting these cards. Currently, I think it was right where they spoiled the second part of the invocations in the second block in Amonkhet, which were the time they started to rise back up again. So I actually haven't lost that much money compared to others. I know a lot of people actually bought these expeditions when they were really expensive, and then suddenly all the expeditions dropped really much. I started to get my cards a lot later than that, which means that I didn't lose that much money on it. Actually, I think overall I speculate, so this is my speculation. I actually speculate that these cards will rise a little bit in price compared to other cards in Magic, because I think they are going to be very limited. But that is my speculation. But first of all, I didn't get them at all because I thought they were gonna be a very expensive and good investment. I got them because I wanted them. I wanted to make a cube of every masterpiece card there is. But also I wanted to play with these cards. Stifle. Really like Stifle. Wow. Cryptic Command. Cryptic Command is a really good card. Aggravated Assault is a really good... This is a really good EDH card, by the way. Aggravated Assault. You can make a lot of fun, cool things with it. Entomb. Entomb is good. One of maybe the best arts. So there's a lot of critique against the invocations. I actually think the invocations look pretty awesome. Some of them are very blurry to look at because they are so dark. But I think you can see the Entomb. It's one guy being buried down with all the sand and all. The swords. Staff of Domination. It's a really good card too. And I think this is the Temple Garden. Yes, this is Temple Garden. I think this is the worst expedition there is in aspect of its detail in its art. You can have a little bit hard to see the details of what it looks like. I think the normal Temple Garden actually looks better. But overall, I think the expeditions were really beautiful. This is Choke. I think it's really hard to see through the glare of all this plastic. Hazoret. And one part that I actually think that many of these cards are actually gonna stay in price is because they are being played a lot and really sought out for in other formats. But that's gonna be talked much about in later details. When we talk about every specific card, I'm actually gonna talk about every specific card in the video series that I'm gonna make about first all the expeditions, what I think, which ones I think are gonna stay high in price. I can say it right now, I think Sol Ring is a card that's gonna stay very good in price. I don't think Sol Ring will drop. In fact, I think Sol Ring will rise a tiny bit over the years. I don't think Sol Ring will spike really high. I think Sol Ring will stagger up slowly and slowly, just because many EDH players want to pimp their deck. They want to improve the overall good looking things, and some of them actually, I actually want to have a masterpiece invention Sol Ring. Even though EDH is not really a format that makes cards climb in price, EDH actually makes some cards climb in price. Not overall, but we saw what happened to Captain Ceesay when they changed the rules about Planeswalkers. She really went up in price. This is Thoughtseize. Yes, it's Thoughtseize. I really love the art of Thoughtseize, even though it's an invocation, and the invocation generally were kind of bad in design, and some of the arts are really blurry. This one is, let's see if we can get it better, really looks cool. Yeah, so we saw the same thing with Doubling Season. Doubling Season, if you remember, came in Ravnica. It doubled every permanent, and at that time Planeswalkers didn't exist, and that meant that it wasn't a big deal. But then suddenly they made Planeswalkers, and suddenly it was very interesting to have your Planeswalker enter with a double amount of counters on it. And then suddenly the Doubling Season spiked in price really high. It wasn't played anywhere else except EDH, but EDH was able to make the price climb pretty high. So I actually think that EDH is able to make prices on several different kinds of cards climb really high, and I think that EDH is going to be the main factor to make some of these cards, not Ancient Tomb. Ancient Tomb is played a lot in Legacy, and I think Ancient Tomb is a card that's really going to be very safe investment, a card that is probably not gonna drop at all. It might rise a tiny bit just because a Legacy player might want to pimp their deck, but also because EDH player might want to have an Ancient Tomb. But then there's cards like Maelstrom Pulse that no, this is Vindicate, sorry. Sometimes I have problems distinguishing which cards I'm actually looking at when it comes to the invocations. But the Maelstrom Pulse actually gets to play in Modern, so there's other formats that will keep these cards high in price. But Chain Lightning, Nostalgic card, Attrition. Yeah, a lot of these cards are probably not going to be worth buying. And if you're not like me, you don't want to have the entire collection, you just want to have a few. I'm actually going to go over which one I think are going to stay in price, which ones are going to maybe rise a little bit in price, and which ones are going to probably even climb a little bit in price. And we're also going to talk about which ones, like Boil. I think Boil is a good card to have, because Boil gets played in Modern. I'm just going to talk about which cards I think are good cards, cards that are interesting to play in EDH. But that is going to be a talk in the future videos. In this video we're just looking by card, one by one, all the so-called beautiful and art they have on these cards. Some of them are quite unplayable, like the Worship. Like, where are you gonna play Worship? Well, I can tell you that it's pretty strong in my Masterpiece cube. Worship is one of the cards that that prevent you from dying. But from where else are you gonna actually play Worship? And well, I'm gonna talk about, I can tell you right now, I don't think Worship is gonna be a card that stay high in price. I think Worship will only be high in price because it's an invocation. But overall, I think this card could drop. I don't think it's a card you should buy if you wanna invest in these kind of card. However, a card like Force of Will, I can tell you, is probably gonna stay up there. And there's a lot of different cards here. There's so many different cards in the Masterpiece series, and I'm actually gonna make a video about what I predict to be the future, what I predict to be the next, because I do think that Wizards will make more of these kinds of cards. They will make a new set, a new series that is gonna be creatures. And then probably they will gonna make a new set that is going to be enchantments. And I'm actually gonna make a video about which cards I do think are going to become the next creature or enchantment master series. I should add in that if you're gonna try to collect all of these, I will say that they are pretty rare and they were really hard time to come by. It took me a lot of time to actually get a hold of all of them, because I had to go like over all kind of different web pages, all kind of different stores that had several different kinds of options, trying to figure out which were the cheaper ones. And I can tell you that a lot of these ones are bought from eBay, but eventually I found different kinds of stores on eBay, through eBay, and bought them directly from online stores. And I think what you need to do is to kind of figure out which one have the cheapest option. Eventually I got tired of that, and just in the end, the 10 last cards that I needed, I just didn't care how I'm gonna get them fastest. Like, are you gonna have a good, decent option? Is it gonna arrive within the week? Because in the end, I just wanted them all. I got tired of actually taking time off my day to like collect all of them. And one story, actually, one day I actually had a appointment with one person at the city. So we met at like outside a store in the middle of the street. He came up to me, he had the card in his hand, he handed over the card, and I handed him over cash money right in the middle of the street. Now that did feel a bit odd, but it worked out. No cops were there, no one bothered us, and it worked out fine. But I guess that is something you're gonna run into if you're trying to buy this sort of card on like local area places where you live. Well, that's it for me. Thank you for watching this video and have a great day. And look forward to the next one. We're gonna be talking about the prices of the expeditions, and after that we're gonna make a video about the inventions, and lastly we're gonna make a video about the invocations. Take care until then.